Very, very, very rarely do those people turn around and become good employees. Actually, I'll say that it almost never happens. You need that person to be somebody else's problem, and you need to focus on your business, growing your business, and creating a positive, upbeat environment in your office and in your company.
Your culture and your company in general is a byproduct of what you're willing to tolerate. It's just like a family unit. Like, your family's only as good as what you'll let your kids get away with or whatever. It's not about how good your best performer is. It's about how bad your worst performer is. And good companies don't let, anybody at the bottom will drag the company down, and then more people in the company realize what's acceptable, and so it permeates the organization. So your culture is what you're willing to accept.
If you are the owner of a company or the manager of a division, I want you to listen to me very closely. Turn the volume up, and if you're watching this on YouTube, look directly into my eyes. I'm about to speak to you as a guy who has hired over 500 people. Fired directly probably 7 people. Some of them were very, very tough fires. I'm going to tell you something that's very, very important, and you need to hear it. I'm talking about that employee that always seems to let you down, always seems to make these small little mistakes. Maybe every now and then they make a big mistake. Then they get a little better. They do a couple things right. You go a week without anything going wrong, and you think, oh, maybe this person has turned the corner. Then something else just goes a little bit wrong. Maybe it's a bad attitude. Maybe they fudged a project for a client. You had to refund some money. You need to fire that person. And you need to fire them tomorrow. You need to let them go, and you need to move along. I'm also going to talk to you about that customer that maybe it's a big part of your business. Maybe they're 10, 20% of your revenue, maybe even more. But maybe they feel like they have all the leverage, and they emotionally abuse your workers, or maybe even you. They talk down to you, extremely disrespectful. Every time the phone rings, you dread that call from that customer. You dread it. You know what it's about. You know it's somebody who doesn't respect you. You know that it's a complaint. They're always asking for money off. They're always complaining about something. They're setting unreachable guidelines on time. They got unreasonable expectations of what you should be doing, and they make your life miserable. Call that customer tomorrow and tell them they need to find somebody else. If you want to go one step further, find a competitor and make the referral. Refer them, that big old customer. There's never been a time where I have let go one of these people. I'm talking about one of these people, and I'm not talking about the customer anymore. I'm talking about that employee. There's never been a time where I've fired somebody, ever, where 1 week later, maybe 2 weeks later, I haven't been extremely thankful that I did so and wishing that I had done it earlier. Let me say that again. There has never been a time where I fired somebody, let somebody go, where a week later, and most of the time it's the next day, most of the time it's the next hour, most of the time it's 1 hour later, that I have a weight lifted off my shoulder, a monkey off my back, and a huge sense of relief. Maybe it's a sense of relief that I can build back a branch of my company that had negative culture because somebody had a bad attitude. They were always complaining. They were irrational. They were fearful. They were just discouraged people. They made people not want to come to work. There's never been a time where I've made that fire, let that person go, that I haven't been extremely thankful for it. And I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. I'm too busy. I have too much going on. I have too much work to let that person go. I can't afford to lose that person. You're wrong. You can afford to lose that person. You can build back. You can hire another person. You just have to take some ownership over what you're doing and what your business is doing and make it happen. You have to make it happen. You might say, Nick, this is just, I can't do it. I can't, the employee has shown some signs of progress. They're getting a little bit better. Yeah, maybe they're not the most reliable, but they're getting a little bit better. I'll say, no, you're wrong. Very, very, very rarely do those people turn around and become good employees. Actually, I'll say that it almost never happens. You need that person to be somebody else's problem, and you need to focus on your business, growing your business, and creating a positive, upbeat environment in your office and in your company. You might say, well, I don't have the guts. It sucks. It's hard. And I'll say, yeah, this is your job as a manager or as an owner. It's your job to make these decisions. And of course, it's not fun. It's not fun when you pick up the phone, or it's not fun when you walk into that office, but you have to do it. You have to man up and you have to do it. I've never been a fan of babying employees. My business partner and I have actually fought over it a couple times in the past where I want to let somebody go now. It's time. They need to go. They needed to go a month ago. And he is still on the lines of, Nick, we can't afford to lose this person, or it's going to create more stress for me or both of us. And we need to make it work. They can get better. We can organize something. We're not doing a good enough job managing them. And many times, and listen, I'm going to pause there and say many, many times it is your fault. You're setting your employees up for failure. Many, many times. I have separate podcast episodes about that. But right now, that employee that's not letting you down, costing you money, being unreliable, being a negative attitude, you need to let them go now. That's it. That's the whole podcast. I want you to think about it. I want you to sleep on it. I want you to wake up tomorrow and make a plan to get that person out of your company and out of your life. This applies to customers. It applies to employees. It applies to toxic relationships. This applies to every area of life. It takes a ton of courage to cut ties. It takes a ton of courage. And we've given some severance packages that made me very, very uncomfortable at the time. Glad we did, looking back, because that person deserved it. They deserve a good reference. They deserve a chance at another job. And they deserve to not be left out on their own with instantly being cut off from, receiving a paycheck. But you as a business owner do not deserve to deal with stressful, incompetent people inside your company. Now, I'll also say that many, many times it is your fault. Many times you're not setting people up for success. Now, if somebody does come to work with a positive attitude and they're upbeat and they actually try and they're reliable and they show up and they're failing at their job, then they're either in the wrong job or you are failing them as a business owner or manager. And that happens all the time. We've set up many of our employees over the years to fail. We haven't given them the tools. We've made their jobs hard, but they fail. You put two people in that position, competence wins out almost every single time. Let me tell you something else that's pretty sad in this world is that some businesses are good, some businesses are easy, some businesses most people can thrive in, right? But I'll tell you that over half the people in this world are incompetent. They make terrible decisions. They're terrible communicators. They let their emotions get involved. They mess things up. They do oversights. They're confused. They're on drugs. They're drinking, whatever it might be. Over half the people in this world are incompetent. It's your job. It's your job as a business owner to find the competent ones and employ them. And before I go, let me clarify something. I am very good at managing difficult people. I think that is a superpower as a business owner, being able to communicate, manage expectations, and set people up who maybe are a bit temperamental, maybe a bit aggressive, maybe a bit rude, brash, or even just unique individuals. Being able to manage them and allow them to be productive inside of your company is a superpower. I love that. There's a big difference between that and incompetence, right? Incompetence, you cannot fix. A bad attitude, but very competent, I'll take those people all day because I am good at managing them. There's one thing that I'm not good at, and that is babying people. I'm not good at babying and kind of pushing along and nudging and trying to help people who are incompetent. I don't have much patience for poor decision making. So that's my test if an employee needs to go. I give them decisions that they need to make. Decisions that they need to make come up at work. I, as the business owner, get to watch the results of those decisions. The results turn bad, I give them less difficult decisions. If the results are still bad, and then I'm like, what the heck were you thinking? And this happens all the time. You'd be very, very surprised at how idiotic the decisions of some of your employees are. If that happens a lot, you cannot fix that. That is something that cannot be fixed, and they're out. So I have a saying. They say, hire slow, fire fast. I say hire fast, fire faster. That's it. Hire fast, fire faster. And that will be what sets you up for success. This episode of the Sweaty Startup is brought to you by Jobber. And Jobber is a software that allows service business owners to run the back end of their business with ease. You can get quote request forms right inside the app on your website from customers. You can send out quotes to customers with a couple clicks of a button. You can set up all of your automatic email templates. You can send bills. You can get paid. You can stay organized. You can even schedule your employees. Now, GetJobber is unbelievable, and my brother uses it to basically run his lawn care company without any admin work. And I just highly recommend this service. Visit getjobber.com/sweaty for a 20% discount and a free trial. I think if you run a service business, it is the best way to appear professional to the customers and also be incredibly efficient on your end. Now, one more time, it's getjobber.com/sweaty.